beautifully. She sits down and composes beautiful letters.
I think a lot of us will find that writing is a pleasure, and actually Nonna is a writer herself. I think we will all have discovered that through her letters and through her cards and so many words.
She came to this country, you know, and kind of her and Nono just built up this incredible life for themselves and their family. And it didn't come easy, and it's something that I definitely respect about her. You know, the fact that she, you know, was working, whether it was at the bakery, which she has so many great stories about and shares with me, or about the Laura Secord factory that she worked at when she first came here, or even just cleaning the ladies' apartment above her when they first moved to Toronto, that kind of thing. So she definitely worked hard, and all for her family, and it's really inspiring.
She had good role models in Italy, even, because my mother and my grandmother was the one that was like the notary, and she would, and her and my great aunt, which would have been my grandmother's sister, were noted for their handwriting, for their skills in reading, for their skills in whatever paperwork they had to do in an official manner. That tradition of education and being learned and being able to help people in that way, where they could, you know, supply documents or whatever it was. The women were also involved in that, so she had that role model. So she knew that, you know, it wasn't just working in the fields. It wasn't just putting food on the table. There was another layer there somewhere, you know. Yeah. So you bring that with you, and you impart that. So even if you come to a country where you don't know the language, you have that as your foundation. So you struggle to learn the language, and then you admire people that can use that language, and that's who you show your children as role models. You know, that's where your ambitions go.
She worked outside of the home quite a lot, so
Yeah.
I remember her talking about going to Honest Ed's and buying plates, but she would only have so much money from working, and so she'd buy one plate at a time to get the whole set. But you know, can't imagine anybody doing that now, is buying one plate at a time to get the set. So just that she was always very independent. She always wanted to be very independent.
She really wanted her kids to be taught by the nuns, and my Nono was like, oh, it's too expensive, we can't afford it. So she went out and she got a job to pay for the children's education that cost more money. So, you know, she is so dedicated, loving, and hardworking, and it all is kind of intertwined with one another, and that really, to me, is who she is.
The most memorable, fun times that I had with my mom was when we traveled on our own to some very exciting places. My mom would love to have seen the world, and we took every chance we could. And so Expo was our first adventure, and it really was an adventure. We had 2 glorious days at Expo. Saw pavilion after pavilion. Some lineups we avoided, but some of the beautiful from Canada, the exhibits of Canada, the monorail, just the site itself, and the exquisite exhibits of some of the countries. Czechoslovakia comes to mind with the crystal. It was beautiful. We really did have a good time. And then we even did some shopping in Montreal, on the Montreal for fashion, and really had fun because different from Toronto. You know, it's a very different flavor. Montreal was our exotic almost. And then we went to San Francisco, and San Francisco was lovely. I suggested that Mom needed a break from taking care of Dad, and just wanted needed to get away. And we landed in San Francisco and did the cable cars, did the sights of San Francisco. We went to a play. We rented a car, went to see the Carmel, went down to Monterey, and then along the coast. But and we did all the hills. She walked. She had good legs then. She mentions that, you know. She says, "Oh, I could do that then. I can't do it now." But we did. We had a great time. She very memorable, very, very memorable. And the last one was New York, and we managed to really hit everything we wanted to do. With Metropolitan Museum of Art, and we saw the angel tree being set up actually, which was magnificent. We went to the Rockette. We saw Radio City Music Hall and the Christmas Spectacular show, which even I was awed. I'd never seen it, and I'd never expected that kind of a production. But she always mentions that show. She loves that show. And I treasure the memory of being there with her.
She said, "I'm going to Italy to see my mother. You don't want to come? Too bad. I'm going." And she actually took us, you know, Josie and I, on this long trip that took courage. To Italy in those days was 10 days on a boat going, 10 days coming back, and to see her mom. We stayed there, and it was a wonderful time.
And she's traveled to us. She's traveled to Argentina to visit us when we were children, and that was incredible. That was really great. I've traveled to her hometown, and that has been a trip that we shared through a lot of descriptions, but yeah, and memories of things that she's told me about. But trips together have been to Argentina, around here in Canada. Yeah, unfortunately we didn't go to Italy together, but you know, it's one that we build in our minds. That's fun. Yeah.